You're watching France 24 and Eye on Africa with me, Jean-Emile Jameen. Coming up on the show, drama and heartbreak in the World Cup. Egypt was seconds away from a historic triumph against Argentina, only to watch their dream vanish in the cruelest fashion. The Pharaohs led the reigning champions 2-0, but a stunning late collapse saw them concede 3 goals and crash out in a devastating 3-2 defeat. Then a diplomatic storm mounts between South Africa and Ghana. Media in Accra claim that Ghana's rebuffed Cyril Ramaphosa's request for a state visit over the xenophobic killing of a Ghanaian fashion designer, but it's a claim that Pretoria denies. And a single photograph has reignited one of South Africa's biggest political scandals. The top diplomat is under scrutiny after appearing alongside Jacob Zuma and Ajay Gupta, one of the brothers at the heart of the state capture saga. The image has revived uncomfortable questions about old alliances that refuse to fade. Welcome to the show. Egypt came within minutes of delivering one of the greatest World Cup shocks in African football history. The Pharaohs stunned the champions Argentina, taking a 2-0 lead through Yasser Ibrahim and Mustafa Zico, and looked set to send the Albiceleste crashing out. But the holders mounted a dramatic comeback with Cristiano Romero and Lionel Messi levelling before Enzo Fernandez struck deep into stoppage time to seal a heartbreaking 3-2 win. Egypt's exit was painful. Their performance, though, sent a powerful message. Let's bring in African football analyst, one of the best, Sadiq Adams. He joins us right now from Accra, Ghana. Sadiq, what a crazy, crazy game. Egypt was on the verge of history and they just let it slip. How painful must that feel?
Absolutely crushing, disappointing. Words cannot describe how Egyptians will feel with this defeat, knowing that you have the win in control. You have played exceptionally well to that point. You are playing against the defending champions with some of the world's greatest players in their fields, and leading them by 2-0 and controlling the game for most parts. It's a crushing defeat, and the disappointment is also from the fact that most of the African teams have succumbed during the crucial moments of the game. You really don't know what's goes on wrong when you have 10, 15 minutes to end the game. You are in control, and then there is lack of game management. The physicality is well reduced, and also the lack of depth for new players to be introduced to stabilize the team and as well improve their intensity. I feel very bad for the Egyptians, but it also tells about having experience at this level of the game.
And that's exactly what Argentina show with their talisman, Lionel Messi. They just prove it time and time again. But now that leaves Morocco as the sole African team. And they're up against France, a mighty France. Morocco themselves have really developed and evolved since 2022. I think we can say since Walid Regragui left the helm, they've maintained that form. What are their chances against France? It is a mighty clash.
It's quite unusual for African teams in particular to be this consistent, especially at this level, at the World Cup, to qualify for the quarterfinals on the bounce and to be the only team to progress from the group stages in 2022 and proceed to do these wonders in 2026. Morocco's high growth in the game has stemmed from their investment and massive infrastructure that they've done across the country. Their extensive coverage in terms of scouting. They've widened their tentacles in attracting quality players from Europe at a very early age. And they have also invested a lot in technical abilities and having to grow the game with respect to how they teach the philosophy. So it's quite uncharacteristic of how they play, especially when there is pressure on them, controlling the game under high intensity. I believe that everything has come about for Morocco to be this consistent at the World Cup, all because of the massive investment and how important it is for them to keep on staying on top like the other teams, especially from Europe.
The Atlas Lions very much keeping the African flag flying high. They have said, though, that they are doing everything for Morocco, not for the African continent. And it kind of shows a separation between them and the other African teams. I just wonder if you could just give a ranking out of 10 for the African performances that we've seen in the World Cup. There have been so many promises, 9 of the teams coming through to the last 32, but now Morocco is the only one in the quarterfinals. Where do you rank them?
I think we've done 40%, not even beyond 50%. To me, it's a very significantly great achievement for African teams, historic, from the 9 out of 10 progressing or advancing to the knockout stages. But that is really where the World Cup starts. Originally, it could have been 32. For instance, Panama, Haiti, Honduras, Curacao would not have been here, but for the expansive nature of this World Cup. So I see the more competitiveness of the World Cup from the round of 32. So to progress from round 32 would have meant a lot to increase the gap between Africa and the rest of the world. I think that 40% will be enough for how we have, or the entire Africa have fared in this World Cup. I don't think advancing beyond the group stage is really anything significant, knowing that there are so many teams that have progressed to or that have come to this World Cup by reason of the expansion. So there is more to do, actually.
More to do, more to come. I just wonder, taking it a bit off field here and possibly a little bit controversially, a lot of the talk has been about certain preferential treatment, at least in inverted commas. That is the allegation after that red card was rescinded for the United States player, Folarin Balogun. And I just wonder what the African perspective on that is, and how Africans at large in the football community feel that they have been treated in this World Cup.
Yeah, there have been some quite controversial decisions, especially for Canada's refusal of visa for Ghanaian star Thomas Partey before the World Cup, and preferential treatment for others who are undergoing investigations, and some other players who people thought would have been refused visas as well. The reversal of the red card decision, it's quite controversial, Things like this do not happen. And for the announcement to come from the president of the country shows some level of influence. But this is generally how FIFA has been in recent times. It's become more political. Issues of football gradually turning into the political fray. Presidents and leaders of political groups having a bit of influence and controversies, and tangling them in decision-making. FIFA president having to go at friends like that. And this is also to let FIFA have their way, because you can only have your way when the political, figures like that also have their... I think it's not too good for football when politics is mixed with football, and red cards are being overturned at the point where it's not a norm in the game. There have been discussions here on the continent of Africa. I've read from people who think that a lot of influences are ongoing in FIFA, but this is what it's been in years past.
And Sadiq, just a final parting note, very quick one. You're going to remember this 2026 World Cup, no doubt. Ghana managed to get a 0-0 draw with England, but your country, unfortunately, couldn't make it past the last 32 as well. I just wonder, from your perspective, one African footballing moment that you'll take with you, just in a few words.
Cape Verde, I think they've introduced themselves to the world in a very grand style, coming up against 3 former world champions and excelling in most parts of the game. I think they will come back better. What they've done, shown to African football, the development back home. Remember, Ghana beat them by 6 goals on aggregate to qualify for the 2006 World Cup, but I don't think the competition will favor Ghana if we are to face them today. It shows you the level of transformation of their game. So Cape Verde will be my African team, but Morocco obviously will continue to carry the flag of Africa, despite them disassociating themselves from the unified front as Africa has always been.
Sadiq, thank you so much. That Cape Verde team with Vozinha at the back, certainly leaving a lasting memory on all football supporters from this World Cup. Sadiq Adams there from Ghana. Now, speaking of Ghana, a diplomatic row is brewing between Accra and South Africa after claims of xenophobic violence. Now, reports in Ghana that President Cyril Ramaphosa's planned August visit was rejected over the killing of a Ghanaian national have been firmly denied by Pretoria. South Africa says the reports are based on misinformation and insists that no such visit was scheduled, and has rejected claims that recent anti-immigration protests turned deadly. Now, the dispute has thrust tensions over migration and xenophobia back into the spotlight, as Justice Baidu explains from Ghana.
The government of Ghana has yet to officially speak to why it is turning down a request by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to pay President John Mahama in Ghana an official visit in August 2026. An official that I have been speaking with within Ghana's Foreign Affairs Ministry tells me the decision has been taken as a result of continued anti-migrant demonstrations and attacks that are happening in South Africa. Ghana has currently airlifted more than 1,000 of its citizens since these attacks started, with hundreds more waiting in line to be brought back home. Tensions between these countries came to a head around June 30 this year, when a Ghanaian was killed around the same time that these anti-migrant demonstrations were happening. South African authorities have, however, denied that this particular person was killed as a result of these demonstrations. Since these incidents started, the Ghanaian government has been under pressure to reconsider a decision to renew the license of Goldfields Ghana Limited, one of the South African companies that currently operates one of Ghana's largest gold mines. The source continues to tell me that while Ghana continues to have a good relationship with South Africa, it says it cannot guarantee Mr. Ramaphosa's safety on a visit like this around this time with these incidents that have happened recently.
Finally, staying on theme, a photograph linking a senior South African diplomat with former President Jacob Zuma and controversial businessman Ajay Gupta has sparked political scrutiny. International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola has ordered an internal report into High Commissioner to India Anil Suklal after the image emerged last week. The Gupta family became synonymous with South Africa's state capture scandal under Zuma's presidency. Although the brothers fled the country in 2018 and extradition efforts have failed, the photograph has nonetheless reignited questions over their lingering political connections. Eunice Masson reports.
While South Africa faced widespread anti-immigration protests last week, a photo emerged of former President Jacob Zuma together with corruption-accused Ajay Gupta. In the photo appeared the High Commissioner to India, Anil Suklal. Government responded in a post-cabinet meeting explaining or describing the photo by Zuma and Suklal as showing the middle finger to South Africans. It was also said that Suklal undermined the criminal justice system. However, political analyst and former ambassador Kingsley Makubela said that Suklal had no other reason or option but to accompany the former head of state.
Here, Jacob Zuma should have exercised some level of discretion. But the question then comes, why did Anil go around with him even to go and be photographed with the Guptas? Anil had no option. And I can tell you, knowing Anil, if Jacob Zuma had asked Anil to say, listen, I would like to go and meet with the Guptas, I'm definitely sure Anil would have told him, don't do that. If I was in Anil's position, I would have done the same. In the presence of other people, Zuma says, come, let's come and take photographs. You say no. It would have sent a very terrible message about the services that is provided to the former president. The only time you can say no to the principal if you think you are being urged to commit any form of crime. In this instance, nothing. Even Zuma himself meeting with the Guptas, it's not a crime.
Soon after the photo emerged, the Department of International Relations ordered an internal report on the matter. Government also acknowledged that former heads of states do enjoy certain privileges such as travelling, but that these privileges could be reviewed should it become clear that foreign policy and the law was undermined.
That's a wrap-up of the news from the African continent. It's been a pleasure. There's more coming up on France 24.